Hey everybody, today we're going to learn how to give your Dungeons and Dragons character a little bit more flavor using the Customize feature on D&D Beyond. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Maverick Games YouTube channel. Today we're going to be diving back into D&D Beyond and I'm going to show you a little trick on how to add some flavor to your players' character sheets. So if you've been playing around with D&D Beyond, you're going to see it's a great resource for players and Dungeon Masters alike. One of the cool things for players is that it gives them instant access to all of the actual compendium information stored in the player's handbook. What this means is that on a drop of a dime, a player can actually go in, search up anything they want to search that's in the player's handbook, and boom, it pops up with an article regarding it, or the actual page. Now on their character sheet, they can actually click on anything on their sheet, whether it be a skill, a proficiency, a piece of equipment, and it will pop up a description pulled from the player's handbook detailing everything about that item. Now, for this video, we're going to zero in on the equipment list on a player. When you go into the inventory on a player's sheet, you're going to see it's going to have a complete list of all his equipment right down to his bedroll, his tinderbox, his water skin, and rations. That's at a generic level, if you will. That's pulled from the player's handbook and just line listed on the sheet as it was written in the player's handbook. A dagger's a dagger, a longsword's a longsword, rations are rations. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you can actually go in line by line on that equipment sheet. You can actually customize not only the name, but certain aspects as well as descriptions of that item. Now you're probably thinking, well, why would you want to do that? A dagger's a dagger, isn't it? Well, a dagger or a sword, or a weapon, for example, is a weapon, dagger, and sword, until it's just not. Suppose a player is adventuring, and he's lost his primary weapon or something to that effect, and he's forced to pick up a weapon belonging to the enemy. Now, of course you can just say, sure, add a dagger to your character sheet, Mr. Player. But wouldn't it be cool if you said to the player, you scoop up off the ground a worn and jagged dagger that has many chips and nicks in the blade? This is no normal dagger, this is a goblin dagger. So for that player to have a sense of flavor now, he can say to his partners and say to his friends and other players, hey, I picked up a dagger, I have a goblin dagger. Well, what's a goblin dagger? Well, I don't know. My Dungeon Master just told me it's a goblin dagger. This is an opportunity for you as a DM to infuse a normal piece of equipment with some story lore or some background or some flavor. I've been prone to saying to my players that, yeah, you can pick up that goblin's weapon, that short sword, that scimitar, that dagger, that bow, and I've been taglining it as such, so a knoll short sword. And maybe, just maybe, that sword's not as good as the one that they would have bought in the store. Maybe they suffer disadvantage, or maybe it doesn't do as much damage. So there's all sorts of different flavor options that you can imbue with this equipment that your players are collecting or buying. I'm going to show you how to do that. So in the inventory, you'd click on the item. In this case, I'm going to pick on one of my players' daggers. It pops up on the side and it says dagger. What a lot of players might not notice is that there's actually a little pencil mark next to it, allowing you the ability to edit it. So if you click on that, it's actually called Customize. So you can actually customize this item. You can have overrides to the hit and to the damage of this particular dagger. Not only that, but you can rename it. So we're going to go do that right now. Now, this is in my character's equipment, so I'm just going to write down worn dagger. Now, when he goes to play today, he's going to see that and go, what does that mean, Dwayne? It's a worn dagger. Well, one of the things that I've always felt is missing in Dungeons and Dragons, and while I'm not ready to actually create a rule for it, I always believe that equipment and weapons should have some amount of wearability to them. I mean, you can't expect a suit of leather armor that's been on this character for the past 2 years adventuring hasn't had some wear and tear. So as a Dungeon Master, I encourage you to sort of add in adjectives, create sort of flavor that maybe gives that player a little bit of a incentive to go into the town and maybe shop for a new set of armor, just on the odd chance that maybe as a Dungeon Master you decide to make it fail or fall off his body. In this case, I'm going to call this a worn dagger. So in the name field, I simply go in and I type in worn dagger. So when that player comes back to his character sheet, and we're going to save this, by the way, and I'm going to put this down here. Under notes, I'm going to add some notes of my own. And again, this is just a dagger right out of the compendium. I haven't gone into Homebrew and created this. I've simply clicked on the dagger and decided to customize it with the drop downs. I'm going to write down a dagger that has seen some wear and tear. Does it need to be replaced, ? So the next time the player clicks on this dagger, he's going to see the note, and he's also going to see the name that has been changed to Worn Dagger. I'm not going to make any changes to it, but some of the changes that you can do are to hit overrides as well as weight overrides. In addition, you can also add damage bonuses or penalties if you wanted to sort of micromanage the equipment. One interesting thing that I've just discovered recently is there's a checkbox there that says dual wield. I'm going to check that off because a dagger does have the capability to be wielded as a dual wield weapon. So I'm going to click that. So we're going to close this off by just clicking off screen away from it. We're going to go back to the inventory tab right now. So we look down to the inventory tab. We're going to see down below that that dagger has now been called a Worn Dagger. And it's going to have the little tagline that says dual wield. In addition, the notes have now been updated along the side, and it says a dagger that has seen some wear and tear, does it need to be replaced? Sort of an ominous sort of call to the player there, and gets them wondering about things. Presto, you've just imbued this regular off-the-shelf dagger with a little bit of flavor that's going to give your player a sense that, hey, this world that I'm playing in is kind of a lived-in world. I'm going to show you what the dual wield option does, which is very cool. You go back up to actions on your D&D Beyond character sheet. You're now going to see that there's another bonus action section, and in that bonus action section it has the dual wield weapon, because as we know, to do a second attack with a dual wield is a bonus action. So now the game has actually gone and said, hey, bonus action here, you can attack with this dagger again if you'd like. One of the cool things is that as per the rules, when you attack with a secondary weapon in dual wielding, you don't get to add the damage modifier to the second attack. And in this case here, they've actually gone and done that. They've stripped out the damage modifier. So instead of telling your players to roll twice for a said weapon and doing some manual math, you can just scroll down and tell them to click the dual wield bonus action and it'll factor it all in. So that's all there is to it. Feel free to jump into the customize feature, go into your player's inventory, have fun with it. Don't go too crazy, you might make some enemies of your players, but feel free to go in and customize it. Little pro tip for you this week, I actually started getting the players to go in and customize their rations. So rather than just saying I have 10 days of rations, I said to the players, go in and rename your rations. What is it that you're using for food? So whether it be dried steak, vegetables, whatever flavorful idea that they want to come up with as to what their character actually eats during his downtime, just adds to the role play and the overall feel that your characters are in this fantasy world that you're creating for them. So try it out. Try renaming some of your items, customize, and add some different details that you think your players might appreciate and hopefully enhance your game of Dungeons and Dragons. Thanks for tuning in, guys. You have a great day. Before you go, I need your help. I'm trying to grow the exposure of what we do here at Maverick Games. My goal is to actually bring information to parents and students around the world in hopes that they can see gaming as a path forward for learning, academics, and even support of neurodivergency. Please subscribe. Make sure you click on those notifications. And I hope that you'll find content here that will be helpful for you and maybe others. Thank you very much, and thanks for tuning in.